I got this white paper mache egg from Michael's. It was originally $4.99 and the Easter stuff was 40% off. Now this is a 2-piece egg, has a top and a bottom. And I'm going to start by priming the egg. I'm using some Wise Owl white primer. And I'm going to allow that to fully dry. Once dry, I'm then going to take my color, which is going to be Wise Owl Higgins Lake, and I'm going to paint the entire egg. Now, the reason why I use primers, because if you ever painted paper, it can kind of get a little funky, so I thought if I had a barrier of primer, I could put a heavier coat of the Higgins Lake. I'm then going to take some of this glitter. It's fine glitter, and I got this small pack from Hobby Lobby. It was $4.99. And I have a foam dabber and some 1-hour enamel clear. You can also use Mod Podge or Wise Owl varnish. And I'm just going to take my foam dabber, dip it in the 1-hour enamel clear, and then put a dot on my egg, and then cover it with the glitter. And this is how I'm going to give my egg its polka dot design. And I used a variety of different colors. And you can also use a smaller dabber to make smaller dots as well. And I'm just randomly placing them, dropping some glitter on the 1-hour enamel clear, and then tapping the excess glitter off. And this is what I have so far. And I did that to both pieces. Now this next step is totally optional, but I'm going to take my amazing clear cast epoxy, and I have a side A and a side B, and I'm going to put equal sides into each cup. So I'm starting with the side A, and then I'll put side B in its own cup. And again, you want equal parts. And then I'm going to take a plastic cup and combine the two sides together. And whenever you're working with epoxy, make sure you're wearing your gloves and a mask. And the most important part is to make sure you have equal parts so it dries properly. And then I'm going to mix it together. I believe the instructions on this is 3 to 5 minutes of mixing, so you want to follow the instructions. Then I have this cup turner. I use this when I make epoxy cups. And I'm going to wrap some foam around the turner with a small stick coming out of the foam. Now I need the foam pretty thick. If you were making a cup, you would make the foam the thickness of the inside of the cup so it can hold on there. And now I did have to drill a little hole in the top of my egg so that it can go on the turner and spin very nicely. So I'm going to dump my epoxy on the egg, and you definitely want gloves for this part. And you're just going to kind of smear it around until your entire half of your egg is covered. You don't want to put too much, but you want a nice coat because the epoxy is self-leveling. So I just use the same motion of going from the top of the egg and sliding down until I feel like the epoxy is nice and smooth. And I did that with the bottom half as well. Now you want this to spin until the epoxy is dry enough where it's not going to be moving around. So I leave it on overnight for several hours. And I'm going to do the same thing with this second half of the egg. Now I do have another idea after this one, so I understand that most people probably aren't going to do this. But the reason why you need the spinner is because the epoxy needs to self-level, and if it's continuously spinning, it helps it dry smoothly. If you did not have a spinner, all the epoxy would just slide down to one part of the egg. So again, I allow that to dry for several hours. And I just love how the epoxy makes everything look nice and shiny. And I thought this was just a fun thing to do to this large Easter egg. Now again, you can skip the epoxy, and if you do, I would just give it a top coat with the 1 Hour Enamel Clear or the Wise Owl Varnish. And now I'm just taking 2 popsicle sticks and cutting them in half and gluing them around my egg. And I have this yellow fur that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to glue it around the trim of the bottom egg. And then I'm going to wrap another time around the popsicle sticks that I had added, and then glue the end of the fur in place. And now you can trim this fur up. I'll be honest, this was very messy. I had a lot of fuzzy pieces all over the place. I'm going to take the second half of my egg and put it on top. And you can just glue the back side down, just like that. I have these small little black pom-poms I got from Hobby Lobby in the kids section. And I'm going to glue them onto the fur. And these are going to be little eyes. And this is what we have so far. Then I have some orange felt, and I'm just going to cut a little nose. And a small little triangle I felt worked the best. And I'm just going to glue that right below my eyes. And there we go. Now we have a epoxied Easter egg with a little chicken side. Now I do have a second idea, which is probably a little easier. I got these crafting eggs from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to poke a little hole in the bottom of them. And I have a screw eye hook that I'm going to screw in place so I can hold it while I paint over my eggs. Now I left some white, and then I painted some of the other ones with the Wise Owl Goldenrod. And this one is Wise Owl Higgins Lake. Now again, I just screwed the screw eye hook in the bottom of the egg, so I had a place to hold while I painted it. And then this is Wise Owl Dried Thyme. I'm going to be working with this epoxy clear. I get this from Dollar General or Hobby Lobby, and it sets in 5 minutes, so you don't need a turner for this one. I got some stickers from Hobby Lobby. This one says faith. Some say love, hope. And I have a little cup that I'm squeezing the epoxy into. Now, the epoxy already is separated and it's 2 parts, so all you have to do is squeeze it into a measuring cup and stir it up. And you don't want to do too much at once because, again, this epoxy sets in 5 minutes, so it can dry pretty quickly. And then I'm just going to put it onto my Easter egg and move it around until the entire egg is covered. Now, sometimes I have a heat gun or a blow dryer nearby. I'm very quickly going over it. This helps eliminate any bubbling. Now, my second egg, I'm going to just use some small black stickers, and I'm going to put the word hop. And you can do this with any word of your choice. I added some polka dots on this third egg, and I'm going to put the word love with a little heart. And then I decorated some just plain white ones with some Bible verses. And again, I found these stickers right at Hobby Lobby. So now that I have all of those decorated, I'm going to again go back to my epoxy that dries in 5 minutes. I'm going to stir it up. And I'm going to add the epoxy to these crafting eggs. Now, no turner is needed for this because it sets in 5 minutes, so I kind of just apply it with the popsicle stick, and I'm just moving it around with my finger. And once I feel like I have a nice layer on, you don't want too much because you don't want all of the epoxy to pool when you hang it to dry. but you want enough that it covers the entire egg and gives it a nice finished look. And I like these because you can customize them and it gives it a nice finish, so you can keep these for several years. And once I have the egg fully covered, I'm just going to hang it from the hook to dry. And again, this sets very quickly, so this is what it looks like when it starts to dry. It gets very globby, so I recommend just doing a small amount in a cup at a time. And there we go. Now we have these fun Easter epoxied eggs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Paint products, transfers, and tissue paper can be found on our webpage at chalkitupfancy.com. And don't forget, you can also check out other tutorials while you're there. Have a great day.